So, why exactly was the dragon skull empty? If there's nothing written on it, then why even bother with the skull? This seemingly useless design is actually what makes Kung Fu Panda a stroke of genius. It touched on the deepest culture clash between the East and West. Does true power come from within yourself or from something outside of you? So, today I'm going to break down two movies through a Chinese lens and show the massive gap between how the East and West view the source of power. The then of Kung Fu Panda. Why Chinese like this film? You're probably thinking, what's so hard to understand about Kung Fu Panda? It's just a movie about self-confidence, right? A lazy, noodle-loving panda gets picked as a dragon warrior. Everyone thinks it's a mistake.
Universe has brought us the Dragon Warrior.
What?
What? What? What?
To comfort a depressed Paul, his gross dad reveals the ultimate secret sauce behind the family soup. There's no secret ingredient. To make something special, you just have to believe it's special. Paul gets his mojo back, believe in himself, and beats Tai Long. Boom, credit rolls. That's the story the directors wanted to tell. It's a great story, and even a 5-year-old gets it. But for Chinese people, something felt a bit off. Specifically, why was the dragon skull blank? If there's nothing in it, why have a scroll at all? Isn't that just extra steps for nothing? These tiny doubts actually explain why we love this movie so much. It's not just Master Wu Gui's deep chords or Hans Zimmer's epic Chinese style music. It's because deep down, Chinese people don't believe that power comes from a magic object. We don't buy the idea that reading a scroll makes you invisible. So, making the scroll blank perfectly fits our philosophy. But here's the problem. This design isn't fully Eastern either. We also don't believe self-confidence makes you invisible. To us, the gross dad speech was just, well, chicken soup for the soul, a nice placebo. So, what exactly triggered the Chinese audience? Why are we so obsessed with this movie if we don't believe in the secret sauce? Remember I said we're breaking down two movies today. So, I'm going to leave you hanging for a second. To find the answer, we have to look at the other movie, The Forbidden Kingdom. Let's see what went wrong there. The Forbidden Kingdom, Westerner object worship. So, let's talk about the Forbidden Kingdom. The plot is basically a lost and found story. The Jade Warlord gets jealous of the Monkey King, pulls a dirty trick, and steals his magic stuff. Without his weapon, the Monkey King gets trapped. Then our main character, a random American teenager, travels back in time to return the stuff. To Western audience, this story is cheesy because the time travel trope is everywhere. It's a total copy-paste plot. To Chinese audience, this whole setup isn't just cheesy. It's unacceptable. We watched it and thought, what? This makes no sense. I'll give you 5 seconds to guess what exactly did we find so nonsensical. Do you think we hated the time travel? Of course not. Back in 2008, time travel was actually pretty cool in China. The real problem is the stuff. The idea that the Monkey King could ever lose his stuff is a joke. And even if he did lose it, the Jade Warlord would still get absolutely whacked. In our culture, the Monkey King doesn't need a magic stick to be a god. The staff is just the cherry on top of his overpowered cake. This is a classic case of culture lost in translation. In Western storytelling, power often comes from a specific object. Take the staff in the Forbidden Kingdom. The movie treats it like a magic battery. If the Monkey King loses it, he's out of juice. Everyone is chasing this stick because they think owning it means ruling the world. But in Chinese eyes, we don't care about how OP the stick is. We care about how OP the person holding it is. The Monkey King comes from a legendary Chinese novel called Journey to the West. His real name is Sun Wukong, whether it's the Monkey King in the movie, the badass hero in Black Myth Wukong, or even Gokong from Dragon Ball. They are all based on this one legendary monkey. Can you imagine how powerful this guy is? Honestly, he doesn't even need the staff to kick your butt. In the original novel, the staff weighs 13,500 pounds. For thousands of years, it sat at the bottom of the ocean, acting as a giant needle to keep the sea calm. It was basically a massive holy paperweight. Then Sun Wukong showed up, ripped it out of the ocean floor, and turned it into his weapon, 如意金箍棒. That's why I said Chinese people found the story nonsensical from the very first minute. In our world, the hero is the source of the power. The weapon is just a fancy statement. Mind or body, the secret source of external power. Now, let's talk about why Kung Fu Panda is actually a masterpiece. It refused to tie power to a magic object. Instead, it embraces what Chinese people truly believe. Power comes from training both your body and your mind. Don't get me wrong, confidence is great, but it's nowhere near enough. You need real skills plus just the right amount of confidence to be a legend. In Chinese philosophy, we call this 心性双修, double cultivation of mind and body. Think about it. If you have a godlike power but the mind of a crying baby, you become Homelander. If you have zero skills but a massive ego, you become Tuku Salamanca. What truly made Paul the Dragon Warrior wasn't just a fancy title. It was the fact that he practiced day and night, combined with a crystal clear understanding of who he really is. That is the ultimate combo of physical grit and mental zen. Okay, let's ditch the movie theory and high-level talk. Let's talk about real life. At its core, double cultivation of mind and body isn't some spooky science. It means you train both at the same time. Because what's in your brain decides what you do, and what you do shows what's in your mind. Let me give you a classic example. When friends meet in the West, you say, "What's up?" which is a direct way of asking, "How are you doing?" But in China, people often ask, 吃了吗? Have you eaten yet? This is also asking how are you, but in a more shallow way. If you say, "Yeah, I've eaten," it means your body is doing well, you have appetite, and your mind is likely chilled out enough to actually sit down for a meal. You're probably in a good spot. But if you say, "Not yet," it usually means you are either feeling under the weather or you are so stressed and busy that you don't even have time to swallow a dumpling. This is how we judge the inside by looking at the outside. We believe your mental state always leaks out through your physical actions. It's the ultimate proof that your mind and the body are one single package. Because for us, mind and body are inseparable. No magic object or ancient scroll can substitute from the cultivation of your own self. In the West, it seems people put a lot of faith on physical things that hold power. For us Chinese, the most famous example is a contract. A contract lists everyone's rights and duties. Whatever we say out loud doesn't count. Only what's written on the paper is real. Why? Because the piece of paper itself is the power. It's the same with noble blood. It's a physical symbol that says, I'm the boss.
Sign the contract, big boy. Sign the contract.
Take Thor's hammer, King Arthur's sword, or Captain America's shield, for instance. Does he carry the title Captain America simply because he holds that shield? Do you guys genuinely believe the shield possesses some kind of inherent magic? I'd love for someone who actually gets it to explain this logic to me. Why must Sam? Sun Wukong doesn't need his staff to be the Monkey King. But for Sam, can he truly be Captain America without the shield? To be honest, this is a bit hard for us Easterners to wrap our heads around. Take the Second Amendment of the US Constitution, a well-regulated militia, being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. This is a classic case of putting power into a physical object, a gun. Here's what keeps me up at night. Who is actually giving the power? Is it the Constitution giving the people the power to protect themselves? Or is it the gun? If the Constitution can protect you, why do you need a gun? If only the gun can protect you, then what's the point of the Constitution? Maybe it's just me. After all, I've never seen a real gun in my life. But hey, it's a fair question, right? Finally, I initially wanted to dive deep into the big differences between East and West. But look at us. We spend most of our time dissecting movie plots. But honestly, this feels like a perfect platform for us to bridge the gap. Maybe next time, we will pick a few more movies to help you unwrap these fascinating cultural quirks. See you next time.